Hey guys, Sinfull here. Before the video starts, I want to say a quick thank you to Hellfreezer for his amazing work on our collaboration, and make sure to go check out his channel after the video ends. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. I know you guys will love his work. He has an amazing voice for what we do, so I want to thank you for working with me, Hellfreezer. Let's begin. My 8th grade year, my cousins and I went fucking around in Mexico, in the middle of nowhere. I went with them and their friends. There was about 13 of us in total. I didn't know anyone besides my cousins. We decided to head out to a house that I honestly had no clue on the location. It was just out in the middle of fucking nowhere. My cousins and their friends said it had some pool-like hole in the ground, made of concrete, far, far away from any town or village. The friends said it belonged to an old lady who passed away. Well, since pools weren't common around this part of Mexico, I thought I would visit. We went ahead and headed out on a carriage with a horse pulling us along, with her baby male horse being mounted by one of our friends that couldn't fit on the carriage. The young horse always had to be around his mother, so it was a win-win for the horses, and us supplying our friend with a ride. So when we got there, everyone went to the hole filled with snakes that had been slithering. The water was so green and dirty. The canal fucking had water filled with frogs living in it, and there's snakes slithering everywhere. I didn't want to jump in either, neither did my cousins. I looked around and found my cousins that were throwing huge rocks at these pillars. The pillars stood symbolizing where a doorway to the new torn down house was, and these pillars were huge. I was just imagining how big the house must have been. It was just rubble now, and seeing that they were throwing rocks, I started helping finish demolish the pillars. While doing that, some random guys came from checking out the pool like Cole and told us, if you keep throwing rocks and break it down, she's going to get mad at you. At that point, my cousins and I looked at each other, nodding like, this fucking guy? We thought it was to scare or to play some type of prank on us. Fast forward towards the end of the day, and the sun was going down and we were heading home. Let me give a quick description of the surroundings. It seemed to be farming type land all around. There were crops everywhere. When it's growing season in Mexico for fruits and vegetables, they take advantage and grow everything they can, since it provides income and jobs for the smaller, less fortunate parts of the country. But anyway, there were cornfields all around, as well as trees and some mountains. So while we were riding through some cornfields, everyone gets the smart idea to start stealing corn and loading up with it. I didn't want any part of that. I may have been a rebellious kid, but I never was a thief. The carriage stopped and the young horse, with a friend on it, was about 2 or 3 horse lengths behind. I was gazing off into the sky and looking at everyone stealing corn, when all of a sudden, through the cornfields to our left, I saw 2 perfect red dots slowly ascending through the crops. I thought they were transmitters now emitting light, since it was turning into night, and since Mexico has a lot of towers that flash red lights, but they kept descending. I started getting a really bad vibe and told everyone we should start heading out. So as we continue riding, the friend behind us on the young horse falls off due to the baby horse yanking faster than anyone thought he could run. The horse passed us, leaving the friend on the ground. We had to stop and we all looked back and said, what happened? When I looked back in the direction of the red dots, and there, flying towards us, was an old lady. Believe me when I say that this was a fucking old lady, literally flying, not hovering or levitating, more like angled, flying towards us, as if she was trying to keep a pace alongside us. She had really, really wrinkly skin, and it was all pale white. She was wearing a dress that looked torn at the bottom, almost like smoky at the bottom. Picture the lady from The Darkness Falls. When she was flying, that's exactly what it looked like. All white with red eyes, and the facial expression she was giving me was extremely menacing and evil. I thought I was hallucinating, so I rubbed my eyes, then looked back, and it was still coming towards us, clear as day. I let out a yell and told my cousins what I was witnessing while covering my eyes and looking away. They looked and everyone let out yells of absolute horror. All of the guys were extremely horrified, and the friend that was piloting the carriage started whipping the horse to get the carriage going as fast as it could. When all this happened, the other friend who had fallen off the baby horse ran like hell to catch the horse. He managed to get back on within time and started kicking to get out of there. It felt like forever getting chased by this thing, because everyone kept screaming, yelling, and saying to go faster. Both horses now super startled, scared, and running full speed. The mom was pulling us and yanking the carriage so hard, I felt like she would detach and leave us there from how hard she was pulling. I never took another look throughout the whole time, in fear that the lady would curse me or burn a horrible image in my head forever. As if one wasn't branded into my brain already. My cousins, on the other hand, remained staring at the thing, yelling and screaming. I kept looking down, and it wasn't until we reached some weird bridge that had blue, pink, and red lights on both sides of the railing, with water running below it, that the thing disappeared. Literally, poof, gone. Never seen again, and like it never was even chasing us to begin with. We were eventually dropped off at home, finally putting an end to this nightmarish day. I parted ways with my cousins. One of them was extremely scared and paranoid, but the other was horrified, and he said how she appeared and horrified him. He was scaring himself more and more. It was for that reason that I did not want to keep freaking looking at that thing. Now I know you guys might be saying it's fake or made up. I was just as skeptical, but the only reason I truly believe this happened and wasn't all in our minds. The aftermath of my cousin continually staring at it left him in a horrible, paranoid, scared state of mind for almost 2 months straight. He couldn't eat, barely ate soups and drank water. He'd go some days without either one. He couldn't sleep, had no strength, couldn't leave his bed, and he didn't leave his house. It's like he was stuck in a trance, still reliving the events that took place that horrible day. My cousin was so terrified, thinking that it would come for him, that he couldn't keep it out of his mind. He almost died. If it wasn't for my family taking him to the hospital, which he immediately went straight to critical care. Unless you've gone through something that terrifying as what happened that day, you will never understand. Again, for that reason, I did not continue looking at this thing. They're real, and they're out there. I'm warning you guys right now, there's shit in this world that's all too real.
This happened a month ago. I am a 16-year-old girl, around 165 centimeters high and 50 kilogram heavy. I am not by any means strong. I don't run fast or anything. I am from Europe, and I live in a small town with less than 100,000 residents. At the time this happened, I was with my best friend, who is 18 and a bit shorter than me. She recently moved from my town to the village several kilometers away. She biked all the way from there to the town, and we were hanging out. So it was around 8 p.m. and we were walking down this pedestrian-only road. That area is at the town centre, so we thought that nothing bad would happen. I'll try to explain how the area we were walking looks like. I am new to this site and I don't know how to post pictures. So on the right side of the road is my high school. Then there are some houses, where some poor people live. Then next to them is the park with swings and benches, etc. On the left side of the road is the church, and then there is a line of apartment buildings. Those apartment buildings are across the park, and there are usually a lot of people in the park or strolling around. We were on the right side of the road, and we were just passing by those houses. I was talking to my friend, and she was looking in my direction when she suddenly jumped and covered her eyes as she hurried ahead. I was confused and asked her what's wrong, but she just went to the bench and sat down. She told me that as we were passing by the house closest to the park, she saw a guy standing close to the fence with his pants down, and he was pleasuring himself for everyone to see. I was creeped out because I was the closest to the fence. While we were in the park, we couldn't see him because the house blocked our view. And I'm glad that we couldn't see him. We were discussing that a bit. We concluded that somebody will probably see him soon and scare him off, or he would just leave. I was worried that some kid would see him or that he would try to do something, because in the park were dozens of unsupervised, easy target kids. An hour later, we decided to go home and we had to go down the same road. This time we were a bit further from the houses just in case. As we approached this place where the guy was, we could see that he was still there with his pants down. He was a bit illuminated by the lamppost, but only slightly. I noticed that he was wearing light grey sweatpants and white shirt, which made him a little more noticeable. I couldn't describe his face because there was a weird tree branch that perfectly covered his face. I can only say that he was around 180 centimeters tall. Just as we were in front of him, I gathered up my courage and said to him, "What the hell are you doing?" Thinking that he would then stop and run into the house. But no. He was still standing and doing the thing which really creeped me out. We stopped walking, around 15 meters from him, and talked about calling the police, and I texted my other friend, waiting for her to give me the police number. Now we couldn't see him anymore. Just then, some adult man was walking and we asked him to go and check if the guy was still there. When he went, I called the police and described everything I saw and the place. The man came back and told us that the guy was nowhere to be found. The police operator told us that if we saw the man going towards the children in the park, we should call again. After the call, my friend and I left quickly, out of fear for our own lives. When we parted ways, I called my other friend, who gave me the police number, and we talked until I was home. I was really disturbed and angry at the police for not doing anything, even though in the past year there was an increase in attempted assaults. And I was afraid that the guy would follow me home, so having someone on the phone with me made me feel a bit secure. Nothing happened after that. I don't think they ever caught or made an attempt of catching the guy. I never saw anything on the news or heard stories about him. I only told this story to a couple of my friends, but not my parents. The next day, I walked with my best friend next to the house, but we saw nothing. Now, that house is renovated and turned into some building for some charity organization or something. I don't really know. Creepy perv guy from the shadows. Let's not meet.
Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure to check out Hellfreezer's channel and subscribe for his future content. And make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe this video. And I want to thank you guys for supporting my channel so much. I'm getting pretty close to 1,000 subscribers, guys. I'm in the upper to mid 800s right now. And without you, nothing like that would be possible. So thanks again, guys. And until next time, stay sinful.